What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, we're going to be discussing, are there really that many bad Sonic games, quote unquote? There's a decent amount of games I do feel like that have flopped in the past that, have caused a big, turnover in terms of people thinking that, the Sonic franchise is terrible. But I just really want to, think about this and sit down, and this video will mostly be my opinion, of course, but I will be taking into account of how a lot of other people feel from what I've seen personally on the game. Like, for example, let's just say a random game, Sonic Blast. Say I think I really enjoy that game, but I realize it's not really a great game, that type of thing. So just because I like the game, that doesn't mean I'm gonna think it's a good game. But first, let's get into this, and I'll probably give a reasoning for each one. I'm gonna zoom in. All right. But first up, Sonic 1. Is it a good game? Is it a mediocre game? Or is it a bad game? Now, personally, Sonic 1, it started everything. It introduced, the formula of Sonic. Without it, we don't have what we have today. But when you go back to Sonic 1, it isn't that good compared to what comes after it with Sonic 2 and Sonic 3. It's kind of like, it feels like a couple levels they, knew that this was for Sonic, but stuff like Marble Garden Zone doesn't fit Sonic because they're still trying out things. So this is the first Sonic game, but because it's the first game and it introduced everything, I'll still call it a good game. It still made a big splash in 1991. Then we have Sonic 2. I think Sonic 2 is a no-brainer for being quite a good game. A lot of people's favorite Sonic game, actually, and I think it's a really good game as well. Now, my personal experience of Sonic 2, I enjoy it up until the very end. I think the very end is kind of meh. I'm not really a big fan of the end of the game, but that doesn't really matter because this game captures just what it means to be a 2D Sonic game, so it's clearly a good game. Now, next up, we have Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I think it's a no-brainer that this game is just absolutely amazing. It is still probably crowned the best Sonic game by a lot of people. I don't think it's the best Sonic game, but I definitely think it's fighting for it, honestly. And Sonic 3 just offers so much, and I feel like it captures 2D Sonic perfectly. And I think just the extra playable characters makes it so much more fun to play through, and it introduces the save system. It does so much for the Sonic series, in my own opinion, and it expands the lore even, because they were building towards something a little bit in these 2D pixel games back in the day. And they introduced, Hypersonic and the Super Emeralds and all that stuff. It was just really cool back in the day, and it's still cool now to play. The game's so good, and they're even introduced more power-ups, and I don't know, the game just did a lot. Now, next we have Sonic CD. This might be controversial for a lot of people. A lot of people feel like Sonic CD nowadays is mediocre, and I can see where they come from. The level design gets a little wacky, no pun intended, a little bit, and it does kind of become annoying, especially when you hit those levels with all these springs and bumpers and I don't know, wacky workbench in its entirety. The final level is weird. I don't know, there's a lot of weird stuff, but I think there's a lot of good stuff, and for me personally, it outweighs it, and I think it prevents this game from being mediocre. And we also get great soundtrack. We get Metal Sonic, and the whole time travel thing. I think it's a really unique game, and if I were to call it mediocre, I think it would be unfair, because I think there's a lot of other games compared to this game in this list that are going to be mediocre, because this I definitely don't think is a mediocre game by any means. I think if anyone were new to come into Sonic and were to play these games in order once they get the CD, I think they would have a fun time as well. Next up, we have the Master System games with Sonic 1, 2, Chaos, and Triple Trouble. These games are pretty unique because Sonic 1 and 2 are very, very different from this Sonic 2 and this Sonic 1. And they're almost distinct experiences, and I know a lot of people actually enjoy these games. Now, I have not been able to play this, which is as in Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Chaos, but I have played Triple Trouble. And from what I do know, a lot of people consider these pretty good games. I think Triple Trouble was a pretty good game too. I actually got it back then on the 3DS when they had it as a like archive game thing. It was pretty fun. I did definitely enjoy the game, and it was cool seeing Knack, or Sniper. I said Sniper, I meant Fang, Knack or Fang, but the Sniper. Now we have Sonic Blast, and I can't remember if this is 3D Blast or just Blast. Okay, yeah, this is Blast. Now, I think Blast is I think it's a pretty bad game. I don't think it's really what people were expecting when, they picked up a new Sonic game. The whole isometric view thing is also very strange. Mostly for 3D Blast, because I don't see 3D Blast up here, but just pretend 3D Blast is along with Blast. Blast being the 2D side scroller though is definitely very still not what you would expect after coming off of these games, and I don't think they're very good games. I mean, if you do, guys, in the comments below, that's personally fine, but I know just a lot of people, including me, don't really consider these really great Sonic games. Next up, we have Sonic Adventure. Now, Sonic Adventure is in a high honeymoon phase right now because everyone is expecting these remakes of Adventure 1 and Adventure 2, and Sonic Adventure started 3D Sonic truly, and it was really good. And it hasn't aged the best, but it was still very, very good at the time, and I still think it's a good game, but it just has aged. It has flaws. It's from 1998. That is so long ago now. So it's I think it would benefit from a remake, but it's still a very good game. It's very playable. Most people grew up with Adventure and Adventure 2 and love these games. I mean, of course, there's people out there that don't like these games. There's people out there that are gonna dislike every single one of these games on this list, and there's gonna be people out there that like every single one of these games on this list. But looking at it from, just taking my own opinion and thinking about how I see many others feel about the game, I'm taking those both into an account. I feel like, a majority of people like stuff rather than dislike. I feel like people who dislike stuff become the loud majority, unless it's a game like Sonic 06, where you just generally see people just not like that game. Also because it's popular opinion. But I think Sonic Adventure is definitely a great game for sure. And Sonic Adventure 2. Now, I'm 100% biased on this one, and I'll take credit for being biased, but this game is the reason that you guys are even seeing this video in the first place. Without Sonic Adventure 2, I wouldn't really care about video games like that, because Sonic Adventure 2 showed me what video games can be like. They can be fun, they can have a story, they can have voice acting, and in the way they do, even though it's kind of cringe nowadays. But video games weren't that advanced. We were still in the PS1 days. Yeah, I had a PlayStation 1 before Sonic Adventure 2 even came out. I had PS1 games, but it was cool. It was just the PS1, and I had some cool games on there. But I didn't have a game like Sonic Adventure 2, and this game really showed me. And I think it still holds up. It's definitely got some flaws with the mech stages for sure. They definitely don't hold up. The controls are terrible. I think the hunting stages are great. I think the speed stages are great, which is most of the game. It was even a decent attempt for the story, and I think the story was really, it's a really good written story, I think, on paper. I just think in execution, because the game's old and the dubbing is a little whack. I still think the story, like when you sit down and think about it, it's actually like, okay, they actually tried with this. Oh boy, we have Sonic. I believe this is Pocket Adventure. Alright, yes, this is Pocket Adventure. I've never played this, but this is the only Sonic game to get a 10 out of 10 by IGN. I kid you not. This is IGN's review for the perfect Sonic game, the masterpiece of Sonic Pocket Adventure. Now, like I said, I've never been able to play this for myself, but if IGN likes this game and gives it a 10 out of a 10, then it must be that good. And I see a lot of people actually talk about this game. I've seen a couple video essays on like Pocket Adventure, just people talking about it, reviews and whatnot. It does seem like a pretty decent game. I mean, IGN thinks it's a 10, so it's got to be great, right? And yes, some of that was sarcasm. Alright, just put it in good. Alright, now we get to the Sonic Advance series. Now, I think Sonic Advanced 1 is pretty good. It's just a decent, 2D platformer. I don't think it's as good as the classics, but it's pretty good. And recently, if you guys didn't know, I'm actually doing a stream series where I'm going through as many Sonic games as I can before the new ones come out, called Road to Sonic 2021. I stream it like all the time, so make sure you guys hit the bell notification so you can see that. But we recently beat Sonic Advance, and honestly, after revisiting these games, I don't think I like them as much as I used to. I think my opinions haven't changed that much. I do think the advanced games are good, except 3 still. I think 3 just has a lot of stuff that kind of boggles my mind, and I don't think it's that great, and I don't have a problem putting it in mediocre, but I wouldn't call it a bad game. Next, we have Sonic Heroes, and we also just beat this on stream, so this is very, very fresh in my mind. Now, I've always had this opinion on Sonic Heroes that I think if the game was built in a way where you only had to do 1 or 2 teams to get the true ending, it would be a great game. But because you have to do all of the teams and get all the Chaos Emeralds, and if you want to get the Chaos Emeralds, you have to grab a key and not get hit in the entirety of the second act of the level, and I don't like how that's designed. Sonic Heroes is slippery, there's a lot of bugs, but I think just Team Sonic, if that was the whole game, that would have been just fine. And I'm sorry, no, not Team Sonic, like just Team Sonic and Team Shadow, except they all have different levels. Or if every team had different levels and not just, slight redesigns, I think this game would be better. But it's the little things that they make you do in this game, which I really think hold it back. I really want to say this game's good because I grew up with Sonic Heroes, and it's like, man, I love Sonic Heroes, but did I really? Especially after just beating it again? Like, I don't know. I feel like it belongs in mediocre because the thing is, I think a lot of people in the Sonic fan base like to look only at certain aspects of these games and, run with it as if it's the whole game. And if we just did that with Sonic Heroes, then yeah, I think it's a great game. But if we have to beat this game and get to the true ending and fight Metal Overlord, I don't think it's a great experience. I have to put it in mediocre. And it sucks to say, but I don't think it's a bad game by any means, but I don't think it's like really good when you have to do that. But if I just hop on Sonic Heroes and do a Team Sonic playthrough, I'll have a great time, and I would put it in good. But because of having to beat the game, I think it's a mediocre experience, and I hate to say that. The next up we have Shadow the Hedgehog. Now, the gameplay is not terrible. The gameplay, I would say, is pretty decent. It's not bad. It's everything else. With Shadow the Hedgehog, the stupid story, all these branching pathways. It's basically Sonic Heroes times 10. And for that reason, I think it's bad because it takes like Knuckles Chaotix, not Knuckles Chaotix, but Team Chaotix and Sonic Heroes and just times that by like 100. And it sucks. It really does suck. And the story is terrible. I think the story is terrible. But I don't think the gameplay's terrible, and I think it's a similar situation with Sonic Heroes. If you were to just do one route, I'd say it's a mediocre game. It's pretty good or decent, but you don't get the full experience. If you want the full experience, it's a bad game, and that's the full package. Sonic 06. Sonic 06, I don't think is a good game. I know there's a lot of people that are coming out nowadays saying that they like the game, which is fine. You can like any of these games, it's no problem. But I personally just don't think it's a good game. It's unfinished, you might as well say. Some stuff just literally just doesn't even work in the game. Story it's got ideas, but it doesn't really do anything, and it ends up erasing itself, which is for the better. I just think overall Sonic 06 it sucks that it sucks. You know what I mean? But I think there's just a lot of good ideas that come from Sonic 06 that it's really interesting to look at this game, and I can see why people do actually like it. A lot of people like it because they like it because it's bad. A lot of people genuinely like it, but I think having a game that's buggy and almost ruined Sonic is fun to like, I guess. But I don't think it's a good game, but I think it could have been a good game. It's really weird. Like, I really don't like it at all. It's a frustrating game to play, but it's just weird that, you can kind of like some things about it. Now we have Sonic Rush. Sonic Rush is easily a good game. It basically is just 2D boost, you know, basically started it, unless you don't want to count the hero's special stages. I think Rush Adventure is right there behind it. Great games. Blaze is a great character, and you know, her whole spinning axle kick is a really fun move to use, and I really enjoy it. Next up, we have Sonic and the Secret Rings. By the way, if we reach 10 channel members right here, you can hit join. Got $2.99, $4.99, $9.99, and you get badges and emotes for live streams and other perks as well. But if we reach 10 members, I'll actually be live streaming the entirety of the game. So make sure you guys hit join if you want to see that, and it also just supports me. But Sonic and the Secret Rings, I was never actually able to beat it because even as like a kid back then when I was younger, I was like, man, this game is not good. I was like, I couldn't do it. I really couldn't do it. And I don't think it's not really the game. I mean, it is the game, but it's the controls. It's just mainly the controls that just makes this almost unplayable. And I think Sonic and the Secret Rings though gets better though when you get more upgrades. When you're maxed out, the game can be pretty fun. It's just the way you control the game is just not fun. It just literally ruins the whole thing. If you have a broken control stick, playing your game is not going to be fun. But if the game's native controls are not good, then that's really not fun. I'd be pressed to call Sonic and the Black Knight good, but I feel like I get slandered because I know a lot of people don't like this game, and I think for that reason I'll make a compromise and come in between and call the game mediocre, because I think this game controls way better than Secret Rings. Way better. You know, you can move with the analog stick. Swinging is just swinging left, right, and up. It's very simple. Instead of like guiding your Wii remote and tilting it back and forth to move, it's not like that at all. It's just way better. I think Secret Rings, if it had the analog stick control, would be way better as well. And here we have Sonic Unleashed HD and Sonic Unleashed Wii. Let's start with Wii. I think Sonic Unleashed Wii is a very consistent game. The Werehog is actually good. I think it's actually good in this game. And the boost stages, or the daytime stages, are not as good as HD, but they're still pretty decent. I think the way they do boost is how Secret Rings should have done boost. And I think it utilizes it pretty well, and I think it's a really good game. I think Sonic Unleashed HD is right behind it only because of the Werehog, but I still think it's a good game. The Werehog can be frustrating, but I think it really only gets super frustrating towards the end. But that's really about it. I still think it's a good game. It's a really good game, really great story. It just has a lot going for it. It's just, for a lot of people, the Werehog tends to bring it down, and that's the main complaint that I hear when it comes to Sonic Unleashed. Not that people don't like the Werehog. People do like the Werehog. Personally, I like the Werehog in Wii better, or /PS2, but I don't really like it here, but I think the game overall is still pretty good. Next we have Sonic Colors. I think it's a great game, really good game. I mean, a lot of people don't like the wisp, they don't like the tone. I mean, I don't really like that stuff either, but overall I don't really care. At the end of the day, if the game's fun, it's fun. Sonic Colors reviewed well. It's, you know, it's just a really good game, and Sonic Colors DS is arguably even better, as it's basically Sonic Rush 3. It has the same mechanics plus the wisps, and the wisps are better done in 2D in my opinion than, you know, this game, and those games mostly 2D. But the Sonic Rush games are, I'm sorry, not the Sonic Rush, the Sonic Colors games are very good. DS arguably even being better. I know Sonic Colors is on the chopping block right now in the community for some reason, and I don't really know why. I mean, I still think it's a good game. I know it brought in the future, which, you know, we'll get to, but I still think it was a strong game regardless of all that stuff. Next up we have Generations. I think it's a great game. A lot of people can agree with that. I think Generations 3DS, which is actually something I played this year, I only had one big down moment with it, which was Radical Highway. They ruined it, but the game was still good. Generations 3DS is good. Generations, you know, HD is great. Great games. Infinitely replayable. The mod support from the community is insane because, you know, the game engine is just that good. You know, I think Generations is a great game. It's only really lacking in the story, in my opinion. And I wish there was a little bit more levels, but overall it's pretty good, and even classic Sonic's decent. Sonic Lost World, I really want to put this game in bad because I really don't like it, but I see that most people think it's just an okay game for the most part. And I think this game, for me personally, is really, really bad. It's one of my most disliked Sonic games, but I don't want to put it straight up in bad because I know a lot of people think it's a decent game, or mediocre game. So I'll come to the compromise and I'll put it in mediocre. I think for me though, the reason I think it's bad personally is I just think after the first 3 worlds, the game just goes straight downhill. But I think Lost World has great movement, except how slow Sonic is. Like, the parkour system's cool, the spin dash is amazing. It's just how slow Sonic is and having a run button. I think the ideas from Lost World are pretty great, and I'd like to see it utilized. But my biggest enemy when it comes to Lost World is the level design, man. It's not that ruins it for me. All right, next up, we have Sonic 4. Straight up garbage, poo garbage. Sorry, poo garbage. DLC is also poo garbage. That game is just it's not deserving of Sonic 4 in my opinion. It controls terribly. Oh man, that game does not control great. But Sonic 4 Episode 2 is pretty decent. It's not a terrible game. It's mediocre though. I definitely don't think it's a terrible game by any means. Now, I'm gonna save Forces for last. But we have Sonic Mania, instant classic. Honestly, my top 5 favorite Sonic games. That game just is so good. I've replayed it like 20 times. It's definitely one of the best reviewing Sonic games in years. Almost everyone loves it. I've seen some people here and there say they don't like it, but I don't nearly see as many people say they don't like it compared to the people who do like it. But I mean, that doesn't make it any less valid of not liking it. I'm just saying I think more people from what I've seen like it rather than dislike it. Now, Sonic Forces. Alright, Sonic Forces is going through something weird right now. So when the game initially came out, I saw people say it's a pretty good Sonic game. Then I saw it go to mediocre. Now this year in 2020 and 2021, I'm seeing people say this game's worse. I'd rather play 06 and all this. I'm seeing so much of that. And it's like, what is happening with this game? I mean, are we just thinking this game's worse and worse? Or is it, I don't know. I don't think Sonic Forces is worse than Sonic 06. I know people would rather play Sonic 06, but I don't think it's a worse game. This game is way more consistent. It's polished, at least. It has a story that, is not as interesting, but it's not as much of a mess, but it's still a mess. And the game plays itself. It has a lot of issues, but I would rather play this 2-hour experience than go through this. But I don't think Forces is a bad game, and I don't think it's anywhere near good. I literally think it's mediocre. These 2 games right here, Lost World and Forces, are in the same boat, except I would say Lost World is in bad, a little bit worse to me. But I think people, just because of how much they're disappointed by Forces, they're really just thinking about how much they don't like it because how much they're disappointed. And I think that disappointment factor is making this game seem way worse than it actually is. I mean, trust me, I think it definitely does suck. It sucks, but I don't think it's these kind of sucks. You know what I mean? And bad. So, this is for mainline Sonic games. There's not that many bad Sonic games. I mean, mediocre can be argued. It's, mediocre. It's okay. Not terrible, but it's not great. But bad, I think the ones in the bottom are bad. Though those games are just bad. They should not be touched unless you're curious. But, so mediocre, you either, if you're new to the series, you either say, alright, this game's alright, or nah, this game is bad. That's basically how mediocre is. Or you'll just feel that these games are meh. They're meh. But I don't think there are that many bad mainline Sonic games. Now, if we wanted to argue spin-offs, sure, this list would be a lot bigger. But I think there's more good spin-offs than there are bad. The Riders series is great, except Free Riders. The racing games are great. The sports games are great. You know what I mean? I don't think Sonic has so many bad games that people talk about. I think the bad games just hit so hard. But yeah, I don't think Sonic has that many bad games personally. I mean, if you think opposite, you can make your own tier list below and I can check that out. But anyways, that's going to be it for today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.